Hello, and welcome to As the CMMC Churns. I'm Matt Titcomb, the CEO of Peak InfoSec, an authorized CMMC third-party assessment organization. This episode of As the CMMC Churns is the CMMC program. It's here, officially and finally. So, figured off, it's now the middle of October, Christmas is coming up, and boy, this sure sounds like a Poltergeist type feeling right now for everybody. So we went with it. Now, the program is officially here. Let's talk about timing, and this is going to be the start of a bunch of CMMC churns because now everything's official. Now we can start to give you what we think is now going to be, well, now it is. And so we're going to start off with very high-level macro about what it is. So first, remember everything else, DFAR 7008, 12, 19, and 20 are in effect, and they are not being rescinded by any of this. They are integral parts of everything that is going on. Now, also remember, we are talking right now, for us in the commercial sector, we tend to talk in calendar years, but DoD tends to really think in terms of fiscal years. Again, 1 October, 2/30 September is their fiscal year. Now that plays also into how things are going to be laid out and kind of adjust the sense of timing this. Now, the rule has been officially published on 15 October. Congratulations to official birthday of CMMC today. Now, part of that is going to be the effective date that is specified in the rule that is 60 days later. Well, that makes it 14 December 2024. Congratulations, that's when things really get started. Now, what happens on that day? Well, that day means that us and other C3POs are now authorized and will start formal certification assessments. Yay! We've been waiting for this for 4 years, and it's finally afoot. Now, that lines up well with dealing with the market pressure we've talked about elsewhere, starting to get the ecosystem going. Reality is, we'll be able to start planning. We'll be able to start doing some initial steps. Real assessment work really won't start until January. Now, the real start for you all, realistically, is going to be the effective date of the CMMC revision to DFAR 7021. That is obviously closing on public comment on the 15th of October, rather precipitous. And when that goes through its public comment review and publication, etc., DoD's been very consistent in saying March of 2025. So that effective date of really, they say March, nothing in acquisition regulation starts mid-month, so 31 March is our guess. Is that phase 1, all self-assessments for levels 1 through 3 will start March 2025. That's going to be a no-cost mod. You can expect it to show up in your contracts on option years, funding options, changes, etc. So that will start there for the official contracts, and then you should expect your primes to immediately want you to be registering and doing your self-assessments and entering them into SPRS immediately. Now, 1 year later, phase 2 starts. So this is a change. We went from 6 months in the original draft version. They've stretched out phase 1 now to a year to give everybody a little bit more time to get ready. Somebody out there, and if it's you and you've been sitting on the fence, you need to say thank you to DoD for giving you a little bit more of a chance. Now, phase 2 is actually when all CMMC certifications are going to start now. DoD to give themselves the option in there of they can require it at an option year later on in the contract. Most contracts are 5 years, so they could require it by option year 3, you will be CMMC certified. They gave themselves some wiggle room in there, which is good. I like it. But what you're going to see is it's going to become a technical evaluation criteria. If you were certified up front and an option year later on, the company who's certified up front has probably got a better chance to win as technical acceptance. Now, a year later, now we see CMMC Level 3 starts and the option to start now adding things to existing contracts. DoD has the option to start doing new stuff at this point in time. Phase 4, again, starts 1 year, and that is now full effect. So what we're estimating right here is March of 2028. CMMC is full game on everywhere. All options, all mods, all etc. So that's all got to be done there. So remember when we spoke about option years? Start of Phase 4 for the Phase 2 variants, that's only good for 1 year in reality. So at the start of Phase 4, all contracts must now have CMMC certification requirements in there. So there's no wiggle room after once Phase 4 starts. Now, CMMC baselines and the levels and everything else remain pretty much the same. So level 1 is tied to FAR 52. It's an annual self-assessment and affirmation by the affirming official. There is no third-party certification and there are no POAMs. You must be 100% compliant at the time of your affirmation. If you're not compliant at the time of your affirmation with level 1, you are not allowed to submit it. And if you don't have an affirmation in there, you are not allowed a contract. Yes, do not underestimate level 1. Level 1 can screw up your contracting too. Level 2 is still the 110 requirements, annual assessments and affirmations, third-party assessment by a C3PO every 3 years, and there is no longer a limited number not requiring it. That language was completely yanked and pulled. So, sorry, everybody's got to do it now. 180 days for POAMs in order to get fully compliant. There is some other wiggle room, and we'll talk about that stuff in a later assessment of CMMC churns. Level 3, we tack on the 24 additional requirements from 172. Now, again, this is consistent. DIBCAC does the level 3 certification after you've been certified by a C3PO for level 2. You have 180 days for POAMs here too. Now, I do want to highlight the affirming official. This is something you need to start thinking about now. Per the definition in the regulation, the affirming official is a senior level representative who is responsible for ensuring your compliance. Likewise, they have the authority to affirm the OSA's continuing compliance. Guys, do not underestimate this. The person who is that affirming official is now potentially incurring corporate and personal liability if they are falsely attesting. Emphasize personal. This is not going to be somebody in your IT department, and that's going to raise all types of flags and problems when that name gets listed in there with their duty title and everything else. So, seriously, start planning on who's going to be sitting in that role and making sure that they have the responsibility and the authority to implement your CMMC program. So let's sum up. CMMC is officially here. C3PO certifications are going to start in December this year, and then your program and your legal compliance per the acquisition regulations are going to start in March 25. Continue to get tighter and tighter until eventually in March 2028, it is full game on for all contracts involving FCI and CUI. Again, don't underestimate level 1. I think this is going to become one of the biggest pitfalls for organizations in what they're facing. And then realistically, start figuring out who has the responsibility and authority for your CMMC efforts. It's not IT, guys. Seriously. I'm Matt Titcomb, CEO of Peak InfoSec. If you want to find out more about us providing your CMMC certification assessment, that's the new term, we're more than willing to stand by, and here's our contact information. Again, thank you for joining us for As the CMMC Churns.